Hello, good day. So today let's talk about development environment, setting up our development environment. All right. So you want to learn the code, huh? You want to learn JavaScript. We'll go through a basic setup. You need a code editor. You got to have a development environment. It could get very technical, but we're going to keep it simple. Basically, we need to have a development environment where we can do all of our development. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what it is because how else are we going to write code? I mean, we could write it in Notepad. You can actually use Microsoft Notepad. If you're on Windows, if you're on Mac, I don't know, I'm not a Mac guy. I love Windows. Didn't really get too much into Linux. I am going to be looking into getting a Mac eventually, just so I can learn a little bit more Mac. 'Cause I know those are the two main platforms. Um, but there are some things you're going to have to learn, especially learning how to use the command line. But right now, we're going to keep it simple and we're just going to get into the development environment. So, um, the development environment that I'm going to recommend is Visual Studio Code. So, if you just go to your browser and just type that in, just type in VS Code, and you're going to see what comes up. And we just want to click that first one. You can click download if you want, so we can go over there to the download page. Me, I normally just click on the main window. I like to see it like this. And then because I'm on Windows, because you gotta, the way you're gonna set it up on a different depending on the operating system, it's gonna be different. But for Windows, you just basically download for Windows, and then you're gonna see this automatically download. Me, I'm just gonna trash it because um, I don't need it, right? Like I already have it installed on my machine, but you're gonna basically download that and you're gonna run it. So you're gonna open it. Just open it, get that thing going. Um, Once you get that thing going, VS Code's gonna launch, and it's gonna have like a welcome page. So you're gonna have this welcome page, and you're gonna see this basically. Don't worry about Xing this out, like closing this page here. You're always gonna have access to it, like how I just showed you how I did. Every time you log into VS Code, you're gonna have this open window. All you gotta do is go through your walkthroughs here, and you can pick your themes. There are more themes, and then you can just go through this step-by-step process. I didn't have to do that because I don't care. But the plus side about having a code, okay, so VS Code is both the integrated development platform and it is also a code editor. And it's very important. You need a code editor to write code. So that way we can write and run code and make things happen. But basically, we go to our extensions. So VS Code has a bunch of extensions. Some people are like, hey, what extensions are you running? Well, I'm going to tell you, you don't need any extensions. So I've done more than just JavaScript development, and these ain't even all the extensions I've ever had. I've learned multiple programming languages. Like I've said, I've done C++ and C Sharp, JavaScript, of course, Java, Python, um, Rust, and I'm sure there's others. I can't even remember all of them, but I have them a long list of them, like a laundry list of programming languages I've checked out and learned at some point. But C++ and JavaScript were my two main, especially the ones that I really, really love the most. But you got this code spell checker, which ain't too bad. I recommend if you're brand new, don't even use it. Just keep it turned off because you don't want to use some of these because they're going to be like crutches because they're going to be doing some of the work for you. So when you're a beginner, you should be typing out the code yourself. If you want to get fluency in writing JavaScript or in having that muscle memory, and being able to know what you're doing when you're creating when you're creating logic, programming logic, or even when you're um, creating a project itself, then you want to start by just typing things out. This thing's cool for CSS for color highlighting. Um, .env, we'll get into that at some point in the future. Don't worry about that now. But file icons is cool if you want like custom icons for your files and things like that. Another one I would recommend is don't worry about code snippets or AI if you're brand new, because if you get code snippets or if you're getting AI autocomplete, that's going to be a crutch. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be a crutch. Um, so I'll tell you early on, I started learning like that. I started learning where I was using autocomplete and I thought I was cool, and I was just like click, 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 and all that code was writing really fast. And I started the apprenticeship, and the main person in charge, it was a woman that's in charge. The main woman in charge, she would pair program with us to check our progress. And she seen me doing that with the autocomplete. She says, hold on, wait a minute. Turn that off. I said, what? And she says, yeah, turn all that off. And I turned it off. So I went into my extensions. She's looking through my other extensions, and she said, she seen my GitHub Copilot too at the time. And she says, no, turn that off too. Turn it all off. So I turned everything off. And then she says, okay, now we're gonna do some problem solving, and let's see your fluency. And I was like, okay, and this is when I really started understanding what fluency was, because I was broken. Like when I started trying to write the code, I struggled to recall the syntax, um, character for character, line by line. I could barely even write it. Like I struggled so badly. And she told me from here on out in this program, I don't want you using any of these things anymore. So, for 8 months, I didn't use any of it. Well, I was in the program for 8 months, software engineering apprenticeship, and I had a bunch of mentors. They were all senior engineers. So I learned from about a dozen senior engineers at the time. And that's the one thing I learned that slows down progress big time is autocomplete and AI. Uh, in my mentorship program, I show people how to use AI how to leverage AI to speed up the development process. But once you've already gotten far enough in your learning where I feel confident, like I've worked with you, I know you, I feel confident that you know what, this isn't going to be a crutch for you, but this is going to help you speed up a little bit. And then I try to show you what we can do with AI if we're creating AI apps. So I can teach you how to integrate AI into an app and make AI work for us depending on what we're doing with it. And it's like really make your app stand out, really make you stand out, like unique. But that's a whole other thing. There's different ways we can use AI. We're not going to get into that. I do know some PHP too, so all right, but that's neither here nor there right now. But one I recommend is Prettier Code Formatter. Um, it is good to see the formatting yourself. You can go places and see, standards for formatting or for code writing. One popular one people like to point out is like Airbnb's JavaScript standards, because it's a widely used and accepted standard. They have a good standard, um, but like we can go. I'll be breaking down those standards with you guys through these videos that I'm going to be doing. But if you're a complete beginner, maybe Prettier ain't the best thing for you because it's going to do a lot of the formatting for you about how the code's going to look, and that might not be a good idea. Because it's better to do without it, um, and see how it shakes out for you. Um, because you want to learn the difference between non-formatting and then formatting, so you could so you can learn from that and not have it be a crutch. But at the same time, I don't think the formatting's that big of an issue because if you're using the Prettier formatter, um, it depends person to person. Because I've seen some people use Prettier right from the beginning, and then if you take it away, they still know intuitively, or after learning, they have that feel for it already, where they're able to start spacing it out on their own because they've seen it with Prettier. But Prettier is a good formatter. Better comments is cool if you want to, with your commentation. A lot of these are locked here, and I'm wondering why. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Because I have it in safe code browsing. Because when I look at, we're gonna manage that, and we're gonna trust our workspace. The reason why that was an issue is because in another project, it was a PHP full stack website that I was doing for the university. Um, when I open files, especially like files that I don't know if I could trust, I open them in safe mode. And we'll get into that at some point. Right now, don't worry about it. In other words, you can always go back when you see that message up top and just put it back in trusted, and trust your workspace, and then you won't have any more problems. But anyway, Code Runner is a good one, so we can run our JavaScript with the play button here without having to use the command line. Of course, it's good to learn to use the command line, but VS Code, you can do everything just off the interface. You don't even need the command line, just the way it's structured. All right, so we have Doxygen commentation. We'll get into that. That's a little bit more intermediate to advanced. And error lens just helps highlight errors. It's a cool one, especially like if you're a beginner, it'll make the errors a little more obvious than VS Code's built-in syntax highlighting. And then we have um, ESLint, which is a linter. We can get into that at some point. And some of these other ones are just like I said, don't worry about Copilot. You're gonna have to pay for it anyway. I don't pay for it. So I get it free because, oh yeah, by the way, nobody's sponsoring any of nobody's sponsoring this video because I know I'm throwing out all these brands out there, and I want to let you guys know nobody's sponsoring this video. I'm just making this video. This is me, my company. We make this video. All right, so GitHub Copilot, you got to pay for it. I got it free because I'm a student, so I don't use it. I don't use it for production. I use it for basically for experimentation and educational use. That's what I'm allowed to use it for as a student. If I use it for production, if I wanted to use AI for production, then that's when I buy a premium one. I don't use GitHub Copilot for production. I would rather use a different AI because I've tested different types of AI and I've talked about those in the past. If you guys have seen my other videos or talked with me before, and so I have a pretty good experience on what AI um, is capable as far as code, and some are definitely stronger than others. And I think GitHub Copilot is, I don't know if I had to, it's hard to rank them right now. Maybe we'll get there, but yeah, it's definitely not on my top two. I'll tell you that. All right, so we got indent rainbow is a good one because it just helps your eye see your indentations. Like you can style them two different ways, and it just helps you see your indentations a little more. Um, we have live server or five server. I prefer five server over live server. So if you can get five server, I think that's even better. We've got markdown all in one. Eventually you'll see why markdown is going to become relevant. I'm sorry. That's going to be in our README files when we create a project. All right, so that's just that. Those are just the basic ones that I got. I recommend you not using any autocomplete if you're a complete beginner, and we're going to leave it at that. So me, I already have. So if we do control backtick on our keyboard, you'll see I open up the console right here, right? And if we type in node-v, that's going to give us our version of Node.js. We need Node.js. You can't run JavaScript in your local development environment or code editor without the JavaScript engine like Node.js. So we're going to go over there and check that out right now. Let's go over there. So let's type in Node.js. And just like I said, this is how I like to search things. I like to see what's there when I'm clicking. And you're just going to download the LTS version because you want the latest stable version. You don't want the latest version. Uh, you want the latest stable version, one that's stable, uh, long-term support, like it says, and things like that. But if you want to run JavaScript, you basically download that. It's going to pop into your downloads. You open the file and you follow the prompts. There's going to be a part where it's going to state, how can I say that? Let me see if I can run the installer real quick because I can always run the installer and then show you what I'm talking about. So let me run that installer real quick. Let's go to Node. Nah, that's not what I was looking for. All right. so I'm gonna go to my nodejs folder. Yeah, that looks right. Um, all right. So you know what? Let's just do it from here. All right. So if I download the LTS, you're gonna see here, right? Of course, I already have it, but if I open that, what you're not gonna see now. You're gonna see this setup wizard, and it walks you through. It's gonna detect it already on my computer, so it's likely gonna ask me if I want to edit the installation in any type of way. Um, but we're gonna accept, of course. You're gonna go to next. You're gonna pick your file, but we're not gonna go through that just in case because it looks like it's not just gonna edit. It looks like it's actually gonna overwrite the complete installation. So I'm gonna cancel that. Um, what I wanted you to do was just know that that's safe. This is a safe website to get things from. You don't got to worry about it. But in the end of that installation, it's gonna ask you if you want to install the additional tools. You don't need those. Not if you're just learning JavaScript right now. You can get those later because they're going to give you Python, Chocolatey, and a bunch of stuff, C++, build tools, and things like that. You don't need those right away. Eventually, it'll become pertinent or relevant when we're going to need those. And right now, we don't need those. You just forego, take do everything default. Just accept all the defaults till the end and don't worry about the additional tools unless you want to install Python and the additional tools it's talking about. We're not going to get into that because we're going to be overcomplicating this video and I was trying to make it simple. All right, so once we do that, we'll have Node.js if we run a version check. And that's good, right? That's going to be really good. Um, also, um, if you're going to want to, in other words, if we check npm's version when we download Node.js, we also get npm with it, and you'll be able to check npm and why package. This is the npm package manager. Why that's going to become important, and we'll talk about that in a future video about our package manager, what we're using it for, and full stack development and things like that. Uh, for now, it's good enough to have installed VS Code and have all these things going. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just trash that terminal. We can reopen it if we like. You'll see I have that spell checker here. And then, but what we're gonna do is we're just gonna, let's create some. Uh, I'm gonna create a dummy folder here, and we're just gonna call it a test folder. And just so I have a folder to open, so we can test our JavaScript. And of course, I trust the author. I am the author. So yeah, it's gonna ask you that all the time because um, it doesn't know where you got the where you're getting where you're what you're opening. It doesn't know that you created it. All right, so um, if we create a JavaScript file, we'll just call it code.js for now. It's got to have the JS extension on it. Now we're in a JavaScript file, and then we have our play button to run code. Right now, if we click it, nothing's gonna happen. But I mean, we can just do a simple console log, and then we can, yeah, we'll take that. Hello. And you know what? I mean, why not? I mean, everybody does Hello World. All right, so um, there we go. Let me. All right, so my settings are a little bit different. Let me see. I like mine formatting on save, and it's not right now. All right, and then let me make sure my default formatter is prettier. So if you're using prettier, you can follow along what I'm doing and make sure that uh, that your default formatter is set to prettier code formatter. So what I'm going to tell you is the reason why I had that turned off is because PHP. So PHP has its own formatter for it, and depending on where you get your extensions or however you set it up. But the Prettier is going to conflict with something like PHP, so you want to make sure that if you're using Prettier, it's not conflicting with another programming language's formatting, or or the way it's working. Prettier, doesn't work well with PHP files, but so I had to turn it all off. But now that we're just in a straight up JavaScript file, Prettier is going to work just fine. Now, if we run our code, if we push our play button here, we're gonna let's pick up our terminal, and we're gonna see in our output, "Hello world," and that's basically setting up our you know beginner development environment, if we want to call it. But man, I don't mean to say it like that, because I mean our development environment, basically is many things. I mean, we got our desk, our chair, whether it's a stand-up desk, a riser, or sitting, however you're comfortable. Your PC, your software, everything you're using to develop your full stack apps. That's what's important. However you feel comfortable, your environment. I call it all that. That's what it is to me, because it's important that I'm in an environment that I feel comfortable, I feel peaceful, and I feel I'm able to work in. Um, and that's this video. I just wanted to keep it simple. So let's set up VS Code, because this is the very, very first thing you should have set up when you're learning JavaScript. When you're starting your journey. And you know what? If there's anything I missed in this video, or you'd like me to get more in depth about in this video, just leave it in the comment. If you're in my Discord community, DM me. Um, if you'd like to be a part of my Discord community, well, you can reach out in the comment, or go to my website, darkmodedevs.com, and reach out there. Either send a message there, in the contact section, or you can, if you're interested in mentorship, you can go ahead and fill out the interest form there, and I'll get a hold of you. But besides all that, um, I hope this video was good for you. If you think there's anything, like any content that you want to see me create that'll help you in your learning journey, this is just, of course, the beginning in our journey that we're going to start together. And then you guys let me know what you guys want to see. I'm open to it, whatever it is. Just let me know. But we're gonna work our way up to complexity. We're not gonna just start with complexity. We're gonna start simple and work our way up to complexity. So I hope you guys like this video, and stay blessed.